We just showed you capital city of Ukraine. Now a live look on Capitol Hill, where in about 28 minutes, Ukrainian President Zelenskyy will address lawmakers from both chambers of Congress.
All right, now here with what he expects to hear, Republican Senator from Louisiana, Senator John Kennedy. Senator Kennedy, we know what Zelensky's going to ask for. He's going to ask for the planes. He's going to ask for a no-fly zone. I'm not sure what he's going to get. Should he bring something else to the table besides those two requests?
Well, yes, but let me put this in perspective. I want to be fair. President Biden has done some things right. It's a short list, but for example, the West has imposed sanctions on Russia's central bank, which have hurt Putin, haven't brought him to his knees, but they've been helpful. But in too many critical respects, President Biden has been Bambi's baby brother. I mean, he won't give President Zelenskyy what he needs to fight the war. Zelenskyy, who frankly has been an icon of guts and liberty, he's united the West. He isn't asking for us to send in our own planes, our own pilots, our own troops. He knows we're not going to do a no-fly zone, but he's made a very reasonable request that we facilitate the supplying of planes through the West that the Ukrainian pilots can fly, and we ought to do it. Can I mention one other thing which the press just hasn't reported on?
Sure.
Treasury Secretary Yellen, with the White House's okay, gave President Putin $17 billion through the International Monetary Fund in August. We've known since April that he was building up troops and we're going in.
What's that about?
By the way, at the same time, the Treasury Secretary gave Iran $5 billion, and China, she signed off on $40 billion for China. We're going backwards here, and nobody will talk about it.
What's the money for?
It's through the IMF. They're called special drawing rights. They're really gift cards, and Russia can take its gift card and go to the IMF and say, I want dollars, or I want euros, or I want pesos. And the country who owns that currency has to give it to him. And Russia has to pay a really teeny tiny interest rate, which they probably won't pay. And Iran, with whom we're negotiating, not well, but we're trying to negotiate, we gave them $5 billion.
Yeah.
And look, I don't know if you want to talk about it, but the president has a huge conflict in trying to negotiate with Iran. He needs to step aside and let Congress do it.
Well, the way you lay it out, Senator, you make it sound like the International Monetary Fund has been, and the United States by extension, has been subsidizing Mr. Putin, and now
and
now subsidizing the war. And we had this problem 2 weeks ago when members of your party were calling for, hey, we got to stop buying Russian gas. And eventually, the administration was hauled kicking and screaming to the table, and they said, you know what, we're going to stop that. But now we know that India is going, oh, Russia, you got cheap gas? We'll take it.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's why we need to change our energy policy. But look, back in April, in a banking committee, I begged Secretary Yellen not to do it. She did it anyway in August, and she threw in $5 billion for Iran and $40 billion for China. Through they're called special drawing rights. I'll be glad to come on and explain it, but they all hide their heads in a bag, and the White House signed off on it.
Who talked them into that?
They need to go to Amazon and buy a spine online. Mm-hmm. They're going backwards here.
Yeah, but the delivery date on that is a long time in the
what's
future.
going on with the Iranian deal in total secrecy, with us in the third room, leaving Democratic senators out, should not be something that we tolerate. They're cutting a worse deal with the worst country on the planet that is going to dislodge any type of balance in the Middle East. How are they allowed to get away with this?
Well, the president has a conflict that is open, obvious, and notorious.
What is it?
What is that?
The president refuses to stand up to the wokers who have taken over his party. Their energy policy is wind, solar, and pixie dust. No oil and gas. President Biden refuses to sign up refuses to refute them. So any deal he makes with Iran, there's going to be an appearance of a conflict because the world's going to figure, well, he made a deal just to get the Iranian oil because he refuses to produce his own.
Right. Right.
The president needs to step aside and turn the negotiations over to a bipartisan group in Congress.
Yeah. Yeah, and start by getting Russia out of negotiating for us in that deal. Senator, today, speaking of deals, Zelenskyy is coming in to speak to Congress. He obviously has things that he wants. At the same time, he's working on a potential peace agreement with Russia, hopefully to end this war somehow, some way. How do you think these two things happening at the same time impact each other?
Well, I hope it works. But I remember 1994. I remember President Clinton, and I remember the United States Congress. They sat by and watched the majority Hutus in Rwanda chopped to death 300,000 of the minority Tutsi, and we did nothing. We did nothing. It was not a Lincoln moment. And I'm not saying send in troops to Ukraine, but I am saying weakness invites the wolves, and the only way we're going to negotiate a peaceful solution to this is by showing Putin we need business, and President Biden needs to give Zelenskyy what he needs.
And we have to finish off the Russians. I mean, they've been exposed as a hollow former superpower that needs to be reined in. This is the chance, isn't it?
You're not going to bring Russia to its knees till you stop its cash flow. It gets its cash flow from oil and gas. Countries have to buy its oil and gas because they say we can't get it anywhere else. Yes, you can. It's called the United States of America. All President Biden has to do tomorrow is say, Wokers, sorry about that, but I'm adopting an all-of-the-above energy-type policy, wind, solar, but also nuclear, fossil fuels, oil, gas, and turn to the shale producers and say, turn on the pumps.
But in the meantime, what the message he's pumping out is if it costs too much to fill up your car, blame Putin, which I think we're going to hear that right up through the midterms.
And buy a Tesla is the other advice they have.
Yeah. All right, Senator, we know you've got a busy morning. Thank you very much for stopping by.